Sandra, welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is supposed to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss an episode right now. So have you ever been in a situation where you've had feelings for someone and these feelings have grown in intensity? It's probably someone who you know as a friend or an acquaintance. Maybe it's someone at your work. Maybe it's some stranger that goes to the supermarket around the same time as you. And these feelings, they just get more and more intense for this person. You want to talk to this person more, see this person more, spend more time with them. And it drives you pretty much crazy. Right, and these feelings develop into more than friendship, obviously, fancy, love, all this type of stuff. Have you ever been in that position? Well, I know how that feels. And tonight's episode is all about what to do if you have feelings for someone and they don't have those feelings for you. If you don't know who I am, I'm Sandra Bellamy. I'm a hyper-romantic, hyper-kisser asexual, and this is my Asexual Perspectives best-selling book out on Amazon. Grab a copy of that. So yes, unrequited feelings, unrequited love, or unreciprocated, whichever one you want to call it. So it's difficult for me to do this video, right? Because as you probably guessed from the title, this has gone on in my life recently. So you may recall some time ago that I went to the cinema and I made an Indian guy friend at the cinema. And I was really happy about this, right? And I got the impression that he just liked me as a friend, nothing more, which I was a little bit disappointed with, but I had a really nice time with him anyway, right? And we ended up like talking to the early hours of the morning near my home, just outside together, no sexual stuff or anything. And I was really happy about that because I felt no sexual energy from him. And as an asexual person, that's really nice for me, you know, to be around a guy and have no sexual energy. And this guy's Indian 21 and you know, like I like Indian guys, as you know, but he has facial hair and stuff. So I wasn't that aesthetically attracted to him, but he seemed like a nice person. And I got on really well with him when I was sat talking to him, like emotional connection wise. And when he was sat talking to me, he said that we had a connection and that it felt like we've known each other a long time. Okay, so I thought this was all really good signs. I gave him a hug. He's going through some really difficult stuff, which obviously is personal to him. And so I thought offering a hug would be nice. When he hugged me so tight, like he didn't want to let me go. But I think that's just because he hasn't had many people interested in him over here, if you know what I mean. Since he's moved to this country, it can be very difficult when some foreigners move to the UK. Some can make friends easily and some can't. Thanks for the thumbs up. And so it can be very difficult for them. And so, as you know, I like younger Indian guys, I like younger foreign guys in general. And so I was really pleased when this guy came into my life. I thought it was fate and everything. But it has a sad, I'm going to get upset. Sorry. I'm going to get upset, okay? I've been okay for the rest of the day, but I'm going to get upset because I can't help it, okay? So anyway, I didn't mean to cry. I thought I'd be okay. And I am okay, and I'm going to be fine, right? But anyway. Oh my god, I can't speak. This is not how I intended it to be. I did not mean to get upset. It's because I'm thinking about how things happen, so it's making me upset. Oh my god, I didn't expect to be upset. Let's get big tissue. Let's get big tissue roll live on air. As you know, I'm very honest with you on this channel, and I've been all right since the early hours this morning. I've been fine, busy doing book work and stuff. Anyway, I'm going to tell you how I'm helping myself at the moment. So, anyway, so this was good, and I got to know him a bit better and been messaging each other, and I found out that he has someone that he already loves, which is why I probably got the impression when I first met him that he liked me probably just as a friend person, not as a romantic interest. However, if you remember in that video, I talked about this before, is that I had a vision, like I did a shorts video. You can go back and check the shorts video to make sure I'm telling the truth. I'm always honest. And I did a shorts video a couple of weeks before I met him. And it was the fact I had a vision of this guy who I believed was my Indian soulmate, but I'd never seen a vision before. So when I was younger in birth certificate age, I was able to have like, I don't know how to describe it because it'll probably be very woo-woo, and unless you believe psychic abilities and intuition, all that stuff, you're probably just going to think I'm crazy. But it's okay if you think I'm crazy. I don't mind, right? And the world's crazy anyway. So when I was younger, I was able to. I dreamt things that ended up coming true, but they weren't exactly how I dreamt them, and it was actually awful for me. I didn't like that experience. I didn't want to know my future like that. It was just like I was deja vu. It was like I was living in my dreams all the time. And I didn't like that. I absolutely hated it. It's like you can't have an actual present life of your moment and be present for yourself, right? So I didn't like that. And I shut off the ability to be able to see things on purpose because I don't want to see things, right? But I was so fed up with not seeing my Indian soulmate that I was like, said to God, like, just show me my Indian soulmate. Like, I'm fed up with not seeing him. Can you please show him to me? And I am getting upset about this, I have to say, right? This is live, live. And so anyway, I had this vision. It wasn't a dream. It was while I was, God, this is really hard to talk. Wow. Anyway, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay, people. So anyway, I had this vision, and it wasn't while I was in a dream. It was when I was awake, and I just visualized this face. And it was a face I'd never seen before. And I remember the hair, and I remember this guy had this cute button nose and this face. And I said in the video that he's actually 22. My soulmate's 22, and I've seen him. I assumed because this guy in my vision was, while I was awake, was in my flat with me and smiling at me. He was really cheeky. I presumed he was my soulmate. And I had the same face again while I was out at the cathedral, like just like staring at the grass. I had this guy's face come up again, the same guy. And I'd never seen this guy in my life before. And when I was at my old flat, the vision of my Indian asexual soulmate then, I feel, was like 23, but I could never see his face, but his hair looked different. So I don't know if this is a different guy or what, but this is the first time I've ever seen a guy's face I've never known before in a vision of my soulmate. It's really weird. And anyway, so this guy that went to cinema, I had no idea that I would even think that, in terms of the fact he's got like facial hair, he doesn't look like this guy. And so I thought I was pretty safe. I'm not that aesthetically attracted to him, I thought, which is a good thing because, like, I don't like facial hair, as you know. The more facial hair a guy's got, the more it puts me off aesthetically. And then when he connected on Instagram, like was following me, I followed him back. I went through his Instagram post and I saw this one photograph and I'm like, shit, excuse my language, that's a guy. Because he's really clean shaven. He's got exactly the same hair, the same nose and everything. And I'm like, so I assume this guy's my soulmate. And then when he told me that he loves someone else, I was disappointed and I was devastated, to be quite honest with you. And I was like, oh my God, but I have a connection with you. I get on really well with you. It's like we've known each other a long time. I can talk to you in messages easily. What's going on? I like spending time with you. Oh my God. And it just feels like really weird. And so, yeah. And so I have to admit to myself that I got it wrong in my vision. I didn't get vision wrong as in it's him, but the fact he's my soulmate, I got wrong. I don't know how I could have got that wrong. Like, I asked God and the universe. I didn't make that. I didn't make it up, if you know what I mean. It came out of my head with, I hadn't even seen this person before. So this is really difficult for me because it's like I'm having to say to myself that your vision was wrong. It wasn't wrong as in I saw the person, but it was wrong in my, maybe it was just I assumed he was my soulmate because I saw him in my flat in the vision, and it's like I don't have guys in my flat usually, apart from my best friend comes to do food shopping and we chat and stuff sometimes. But other than that, I don't have guys in my flat. And so I just assumed because he was in my flat and he's the aesthetic type, and in the vision it was like he was interested in me, not anyone else, that he was attracted to me in the vision. I got the fact he was a bit cheeky, as in a flirty way, probably, although the person I know in person, I would say he probably has got that personality, but I don't know that fully, but I think so from what I know. But yeah, so it's kind of like really weird that I was wrong about that, and it's like hard to admit that to myself because I feel like it's like distrusting myself somehow, or that it's like saying that myself is wrong and my visions are wrong. And but I know in the past my visions can be slightly off. So but it wasn't in the past, it wasn't any visions of a soulmate, and it was in dreams I used to see things, and it wasn't of a person like that. It was, it was more like circumstances and things happening. It wasn't actually a soulmate vision. And so that was really difficult for me. And so I find it really hard, right? And so anyway, when he told me this about the woman that he loves, um, he told me she doesn't feel the same way about him at the moment anyway. And so, but she cares about him basically. And he told me some stuff which I won't go into. But anyway, so the fact he's loved someone else. So I was trying to come to terms with that, because obviously it's difficult because he's not actually in a relationship with her. But I was trying to put in my head that as far as I'm concerned, the only way I can approach it is that he's taken and that he's in a relationship with someone else, even if he isn't. But if someone's heart and mind is with someone else and they love them, they're technically taken anyway. They're technically in a relationship, even if it's just in their fantasy and not in the reality. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, it's like they're taken anyway. They're off the market. If they're saying that they love this person and they don't want to be with anyone else, basically, then they're off the market, aren't they? They're not single. They're tied to someone, even if it's in the mind and the soul and the spirit. And so I guess what I like about the fact how he loves her is it's more in an asexual way, in the sense that it's not sexual, because they haven't seen each other in person for a year, as far as I know. I think it was last year he saw her. So yeah. And so it's very difficult for me. And so this is really hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's hard. Anyway, so I thought that I got my mindset kind of round to thinking that he's taken, that's the way I'm going to have it, that's the stance I'm going to take, I'm just going to have to accept it. But it was difficult at that time. And I did tell him that I had some feelings. It was like, oh, I understand because I'm in love with this woman. And it's like, hang on a minute, it's just a bit like a love triangle. Like, you love someone else, I have feelings for you, and she unreciprocates your feelings, you unreciprocate mine. This is just like weird. But then he likes movies and stuff, and he likes quite tragic stuff. And I mean, I don't want to be part of a tragic love story or tragic feeling story. It's just not who I am. And I'm going to make sure I have a good, happy ending, right, people? Because I have the power. Power! Even if I'm single forever, I have the power to make myself happy. Always remember that. So anyway, yeah, so anyway, I thought I was getting my head around it. And then in messages, he gave me the impression that it's a possibility that he might be an ideal guy for me, because I was saying what type of guy he wants. I want, sorry, not he wants. I was saying what type of guy I want. And he was saying back to me that the only way you might get that type of guy is this, if he's like this, which described him. I don't know any other guys like him, right? And then as the conversation went on, I said, you've hinted you could possibly have a relationship with me. So could you live without sex? And how would that, and this type of thing. He never corrected on me at. He never said, oh, you're wrong about that. I didn't say possibility of a relationship. So he kept me thinking that there's a possibility of a relationship, right? And then last night and the early hours this morning, I ended up talking to him. And there are some red flags with him. He's not in a good way mentally, which obviously I know some people aren't at certain points of their life. I'm not going to go into all that. It's personal. But there are red flags there. And he knows that. He's probably fine to accept that, But anyway, I'm not going to go into them. Right. But, so yeah, anyway, I was talking to him and I basically found out that he's not romantically interested in me at all. There's no possibility of a relationship. He loves this woman, and he led me to believe, he didn't admit at first, which is even worse, that he led me on and led me to believe that. He just kept saying, well, where did you see that in messages? Like, explain it to me. Like, I had to justify what he'd already said to me, and he never apologized, which is what I'm really upset about. He felt bad, but I think that's more him feeling sorry for himself than actually saying, look, Sandra, I fucked up, excuse my language. I did that because I want to keep you as my friend, which is what he admitted in the end. But he didn't say sorry. I fucked up, and I know that because he knew I was hurt before, but that he didn't have the feelings back. But I was more settled then that he was taken, and then for him to actually instigate the possibility of him and let me keep believing that was not good. Graham gaslighted you then. Well, well, he changed. Yes, he changed my reality and perception of things. And yeah, I don't like to use the word gaslighted, but yes. And I don't know if I should ever speak and see this guy again. I'm due to see him on Saturday, and I said that I would go and see him to hear his story and stuff. But he never said sorry, which is not a good trait. It is a huge red flag. Because it's you know what I mean? If someone does something wrong and he basically did it because he still wouldn't be my friend, and he thought that I wouldn't be friends with him if if he hadn't said that. But yes, it's gaslighting when someone's trying to when someone's trying to say, well, I never said that, like, where's the evidence? I'm having to point it out. That is a form of gaslighting, try to blur the reality of what really happened when he should know full well what happened because it's obvious. And so, yes, unfortunately, but I don't know if he actually understands that he gaslighted me, but it's not good. And he never said sorry, and he felt bad, but that was for himself, really. It wasn't for me. Like, it was for me as in the terms of, like, what he did, he was, I guess, found out, but it wasn't actually like, "I'm really sorry, I hurt your feelings. Like, I know you had feelings for me, and I just made them worse, and I'm really sorry about that." He didn't say that to me. So yeah, it's horrible, really. At the moment, I've agreed to see him and go and talk to him in person, but he still hasn't. I would have liked him to come in my inbox today and go, Sandra, I've been thinking, and I really was not nice to you doing that, and I really apologize, but I haven't had that at all, like nothing. And so that to me means, like, how can I even be friends with this guy if it's a form I did tell him at the time, I said, "Well, it's a form of deception and manipulation to get what you want." And he said nothing to it, like, you know what I mean? Apart from "I feel bad" later on, he said. But I mean, like, feeling bad is not the same as "I feel bad, I hurt you. I feel bad and I'm sorry I hurt your feelings." It's not the same thing. Feeling bad is just feeling bad for yourself. It's not feeling bad as in I feel so bad that I personally hurt you. And yeah, and the fact he even tried to change the reality of the situation. So it's really not good. And it's like, I think he should apologize to me. But then is he gonna mean it if he does apologize? Because, like, I shouldn't even have to tell him to apologize, you know what I mean? It should be natural that, if you hurt someone's feelings, because he knew before I had feelings it was hard for me to get over that, but I'd already parked the fact that he was in a relationship with someone technically. Well, he's not technically, but he is in his mind, and he's you know what I mean? So ends up, like, blurting out all these love feelings for him. I ended up saying that, I have love feelings for you. I'm a hyper romantic. Yes, I know it's not normal to get love feelings quick, but there are people actually who are not hyper romantic. They're on the internet if you read it. I fell in love so quickly. I'm not full blown in love with him. I have love feelings, which I didn't mean to have, but it happened. And so yeah, but I get love sick and all this lot. So I was saying all this stuff to him. But do you know something? It was really good for me to purge all that stuff out, because I felt better than bottling it all up and driving me crazy with it. Especially because he eventually kept confirming that, no, I love this other woman in India, and I'm never going to feel that way about you, and there's no chance of a relationship ever. You know what I mean? And so I was happier that there's, like, no thing. But I mean, yeah, if he gaslights me, he's not going to be good for me to be in a relationship with anyway, or even as a friend. Really, a proper friend doesn't gaslight you. A proper friend goes, look, I was an ass, like, I did it because I didn't want to lose you as a friend, because, like, I don't have any friends in Exeter, and I did it for selfish reasons, and I'm really sorry, because I know that I already know how much you cared about me, because you told me before, and I fucked up. But he didn't say that. That would have been the mature adult thing to say, and also a kind, caring thing to say, and also a person who really values me as a friend to say. But he didn't say any of that. So at the moment, I'm a bit like, should I even bother seeing him again when he's treated me that way? It's not very nice. But at the same time, I care about him, but it has to be two ways. And even for friendship, you have to be able to trust a person. And it's hard for me to trust someone who hasn't been honest with me in that way. He was honest and then he was not honest, because he was doing it to keep me as a friend. But he would have been much better not doing that because I really trusted him before and I got on well with him. And so, and I had a hard time with my feelings, but I was dealing with it. But to actually go from there's no possibility, I'm not attracted to you romantically, to there is a possibility, to no, what, where did I even say that? I'm like, well, you did, because I've kept saying, I even said it in messages, like you've hinted that you're romantically attracted to me, and asked him about if you could live without sex. You don't answer that question unless the person's asked it. So yeah, it was really difficult, and I was crying for ages, and so it made me feel quite ill actually, but it made me feel better to purge it. Heather, I'm sorry that happened to you, Sandra. Thank you. Lots of love to you. Yeah. So it's really not good. It's really not good, because I deserve to be treated with respect. I deserve to be treated with empathy and compassion. And if someone doesn't reciprocate feelings, that's fine. But to actually change it, to give them hope that that might be possible, if for personal gain, is just very deceptive and manipulative. And I don't like that. And they haven't said sorry, so it's not like there's anything to forgive, in the sense that they're not even recognizing that that is really bad from they're recognizing they feel bad, but that's not the same as recognizing, hey, I hurt your feelings, I hurt your emotions, I hurt you, and I'm really sorry I did that to you. Right, that's not what they said last night. They were saying before, on the previous time that I said about my feelings, that they know how difficult it is, and they were talking about the person they loved, but that was okay because they were already telling me they loved another person. It wasn't their fault that they don't reciprocate the feelings back. That's acceptable. But when someone then gives you hope and changes the story slightly and the narrative, and then uses it to stay friends with you on purpose because they think you're not going to stay friends with them else. I mean, at the end of the day, it's my decision where I stay friends with him or not, regardless of whether he's interested in me. If I want to not be friends with him because I'm actually looking for my soulmate, I'm not looking for a guy just to be friends with. But I would have liked and do like an Indian guy as a friend in my city. I have wanted that, even if it's not romantic, because I thought it'd be really nice for me to hang out with an Indian guy, to have some time with an Indian guy. It'd be a very good experience for me, and to get on well with an Indian guy, and it'd be nice to have more friends next to her, and I am actually looking for that. But to make me think that there's a possibility of a relationship after originally he said no, that's not fair to me. That's pretty effed up, to be honest. You know what I mean? And so yeah, it's not nice. I'm really upset and about it. So how am I helping myself to get over this? Right. So first of all, if this is the type of person he is, he's not going to be suitable for a relationship with me anyway, because at the end of the day, I need someone who doesn't deceive me, doesn't lie, doesn't give me false hope, and who I can totally trust. Which makes me question if I can even be friends with this guy, because obviously you need trust in a friendship, right? It's like, do I give him, at the moment, I've said I'll stay friends with him and see how it goes. And it's like, do I give him the chance to continue friendship with me, or do I just leave his life? Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's not doing me any favors in that way. I mean, to not even apologize for how hurt I am is just it's not his fault I feel this way about him. That's not his responsibility. But it's his responsibility that he led me to believe there's a possibility of a future relationship with him. And he did that as a form of deception for getting me to stay friends with him. That's the issue I have. It's not, so if you have feelings for someone, they don't reciprocate, that's not their fault. Everyone is entitled to feel what they feel for who they feel. So the fact he loves someone else, that's fine. It's not nice if you have feelings for that person, but it's what happens. It's fine. It happens. It's life. It's acceptable. Loads of people that happens to all the time. They have feelings for someone. They don't have feelings for you. They have feelings for someone else. It's quite normal. It happens a lot. But, what you have to do for yourself when you realize this is you have to make a decision, like, are you going to keep this person in your life or not? And sometimes you can't make the decision there and then. I don't think it's good necessarily to make a decision in the heat of the moment when you're in emotional turmoil. I think sometimes it's better to come away from the situation because you can't really know sometimes what to do because your brain's kind of really scrambled because you have feelings for the person, you care about the person, they care about someone else. They might care about you as a friend, but then if he really cared about me as a friend and valued me as a person, a human being, then then it'd be like, I'm really sorry I did that. I made you feel, that there was a possibility. That was my muck up. But he didn't do that. So he's not taking responsibility for his actions, and it's not good. And yeah, like with the gaslighting, pretending like, oh, it didn't really happen. Like, show me where this happened. It's like, of course you know it happened. You know what I mean? And so yeah, and he was trying to say in the beginning, well, that I gave it discretion, but that, it doesn't have to be me. I'm like, that's the only person I know like that. Why would a guy have to be this way to be with me anyway, in part of the thing, and so yeah, it's just really disconcerting. But um so the best thing to do in this situation is sometimes if you're so emotional at a time is to come away from that situation, have time on your own to think, reflect, and just spend time with yourself on self-love and self-care. So what that looks like for me is, since the conversation, it looks like for me that I'm getting on with I've been doing some book work on Asexual Guide to Sex book. I've started that again. I've been filing paperwork that really needed to be done. I am feeling dizzy at the moment, which I think is probably because I've been had a lot of emotional upset. My eating food is a bit out of balance. I've only had like one full meal today, and so my blood sugar levels, I think, are a bit all over the place. So obviously, you have to prioritize your own health, your own self-care, your own well-being in these situations, because obviously that person's not got my best interests at heart. They've got their own best interests and the interests of the person they love at heart, not me. And they were saying something like, why do you think I don't care about you? And then I'm thinking afterwards, well, yeah, if you don't even care about my feelings enough to say sorry to me, then why do I think you actually do care about me in all seriousness? And it's not motivated by selfish means, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's another thing, because I deserve people who are good to me. I deserve not to be gaslighted. I deserve to have someone who will take responsibility for his actions in a friendship even, and who'll say, look, I effed up, like it's on me, and I'm really sorry that I hurt your feelings and hurt you emotionally, but that's not happened. So yeah, that's like not good. But anyway, in terms of self-care, I've started doing my book works when I write. I've actually started a diary book that I might publish as well, which is I've been thinking about doing the book that's got a book title. I've been thinking about doing for a while, but I've never done a diary style book before. So I've started one to get my feelings out, being careful like of what I say, but also not being careful as in the sense I'm just talking from my mind. But I don't know how people would take it, because I literally was just splurging everything on my mind, including my low blood sugar levels, and I was talking in rhyme with my low blood sugar levels. It's really crazy. So I'm not sure if people would want to see that or if they would like that type of thing. But I remember years ago when I was l- younger in birth certificate age that I used to see, is it like Diary of a Wimpy Kid and stuff like that? They used to be like diaries and stuff, and it used to just be like a splurge of their brain, and you used to be able to see inside it. And it used to be quite fascinating and interesting and kind of off the wall sometimes. And I think sometimes that type of book is quite interesting, like, but you have to be in the mood for it, I guess, and you have to be able to like think, this, I'm inside someone's head and this is really weird in here. So I don't know if what will come of that. But anyway, I think it's just good to get feelings and emotions and thoughts out in that way, whether I publish it or not. And I strongly urge you that if you have got strong feelings and emotions, to do writing, to do journaling. You can use a diary or an actual journal. But do the things you love and make you feel happy. Like writing to me makes me feel very happy. It's very therapeutic for my soul. It makes me feel really good, as well as it being my profession. And I just think it's good to get your emotions out and to thoughts and feelings and purge. Like, even though it was difficult to purge to him, I think it's better to tell the person. Now, the reason I think it's better to tell the person how you feel about them is because it's not good if you spend like 2 or 3 years of your life having feelings for someone and they're unreciprocated. The sooner you can tell someone you have feelings about them, in my opinion, the better. Teblin. I remember that film. Have you seen Joanne? It's a Hindi action film with some dancing in it. Don't think I have. I've seen some Hindi films, but I don't think I've seen that one. I've seen Street Dancer. Street Dancer 3D. I've seen some other ones as well, but I can't remember what they are. ABCD, I've seen that one. It's really good. So yeah, like prioritize your self-care in these circumstances, prioritize like looking after your own emotions. I do think it's important to tell the person how you feel about them. You could argue I haven't known him that long, so why am I telling him my feelings? Because as a hyper romantic, hyper being like excessive at something, intense at something, when I don't tell the person my feelings, they just intensify. It's a bit like like a pressure cooker when you just like have intense feelings, and you just like it builds up and builds up. And this is how it is for me with feelings of like love feelings or feelings of intensity. It just really gets really intense for me, and it like feels like it's about to explode and overflow, and it's not good. So it's bad to tell a person, and you do not want to waste years of your life feeling something for someone and never having it reciprocated, and you could have been like seeing someone else in that time. So I'm a big massive fan of get these feelings out of the way. Tell the person how you feel, even if it is soon. It doesn't mean to say you get into a relationship really quickly with them if you do have feelings for them. That's not what I'm saying. You should tell the person you have feelings for them, and they might go away from you because they might be like, I can't handle the fact she's got feelings for me and I don't reciprocate them and I'm off. But then that's good because they've cancelled themselves out of your life, and it's one less person to worry about, right? So they've done you a favor. So yeah, just remember that it's better to say something. You don't want to be going on for months and years having feelings for someone, one person, and then you find out down the line they don't feel that same way for you. They go off with someone else, marry someone else, or whatever they do, and you're just hankering after someone you can never have. This is a waste of life and time, right? It's much better to go after someone who's available than unavailable, and be interested in someone who's available, someone who's emotionally available, someone who's mentally available. Ideally, you want a healthy person, not a gaslighter. You want someone who's like strong and knows what they want. I mean, he knows what he wants, that woman, that's fine. But when it's not you that they want, you've got to obviously put yourself first and realize that there's plenty more fish in the sea, and you don't want to be hankering too much after this person, because if you do, I've always said before on this channel, you can't open your heart up to someone else if the other person is still in it. It just doesn't work. So you kind of need to let them go, whether that's letting them go completely from your life or partly from your life. Usually, as you know, I'm a big advocate of leaving a person's life completely. I haven't actually been in a relationship with this person though, so I usually definitely advise that when you're about relationship, if you're in a relationship with a person, to like leave that person's life. I usually recommend it most of the time actually, but you've got to do what's right for you at the time, and you sometimes you have to give yourself time to make a decision. Like, do you want this person to go from your life, or do you want this person still in your life? Like, what's the pros and cons of keeping them in your life? What's the benefits and disadvantages? And is it going to do you good to have this person in your life, or is it not going to do you any good? So you've got to like weigh up the pros and cons, but make sure you attend to your self-care, do things that make you feel fulfilled, happy, joy, productive. So it's good to put your mind on something different, take it off them. It's good to do things that would help you to not feel that way about the person. So I've automatically in my brain now been reprogramming my brain to think, okay, he's taken, right? It's a bit stupid because he's technically single, but he's technically in his mind, head and soul with her. So at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, he's taken, he's in a relationship. That helps me to know that he's off the table, he's off the market, he's not available to me. And so that means that he's not the right person for me. And always remember, I have told you something on this channel before. If a person is not feeling the same way about you, they're not your person. A person has to choose you, right? You have to choose that person to be in your life, to love you, to care about you, and they have to choose you back. You may help them in their life. You may feel strong feelings towards them, but if they're not reciprocating towards you, then you deserve to go and find someone who loves you for who you are, who reciprocates your feelings, and who can give you the love, time, care, and attention that you deserve and that you really need, right? And so you don't want to be getting that mixed up in too much messy stuff where it ends up like a love triangle and stuff, like I said. So the best thing to do if someone loves someone else is literally put it in your mind that they're completely unavailable. He's told me that there'll be no chance of a relationship with me and him. So that's fine. I need to park that, and I have to accept that the vision I saw of a guy that happens to be him and a soulmate is incorrect, unless it was in another life somewhere. But it's incorrect, right? It's incorrect in this life. I just assumed he was my soulmate because there was an Indian guy in my flat, and it's not actually a soulmate. I just made that mistake, but it's still a person that I happen to meet. So I got it wrong, and that's hard admitting to yourself that you got something wrong. But you have to live in your own reality. You can't live in cloud cuckoo land and fantasy land. You have to admit it to yourself. Okay, I had a vision. Unfortunately, it was partly right, partly wrong. And therefore, like, I just have to know that that happens sometimes in life, and that's the way it is. But we have to stay strong within ourselves. We have to build ourselves up again. We have to know that it's okay to grieve. It's okay to cry. It is a loss for something that you feel for someone who doesn't feel it for you. It's okay to express your emotions to them. They either handle it or they don't handle it. And it's okay to be you. It's okay to feel how you feel, right? There's plenty of other people in the world. There's thousands of other people. It's harder to get someone like I want because I like a younger foreign guy who's Indian. But you know what I mean? I don't have a limited belief mindset. I don't believe that there's just this one guy that might be the right guy for me, because he's not the right guy for me. So therefore, it's not him. There's still another guy out there. And like when something happens like this, you do feel like giving up. You feel like, okay, I've had enough now. I'm fed up with all the Indian guys. Sorry, Indian guys, I do love you really, but I'm so I get, because it's Indian guys I'm really attracted to. It's just like I get fed up with all the Indian guys. I tell you something though, I do get very fed up, angry, and pissed off with all the Indian guys in their early to mid 20s. So got effed up minds. It's like, sort your effing mind out, like there's so many guys that is displaying some narcissistic traits, some traits that are just like not healthy. And it's like, sort your frigging mind out. Go and get therapy, realize you have issues and problems, but instead of running away from them and not dealing with them, say, okay, like, how can I deal with them and become a better person? I think a lot of guys should just go and look at lists of what is abuser, what is a narcissist, what is an unhealthy person, and make sure they have none of those traits. And then look at all the lists of a healthy person, healthy relationships, non-abusive people, non-narcissistic people, and go and be like that. It's quite simple, right? People make things too complicated. Get the lists, think, how many of these things am I on that list? Right? Do I do gaslighting? Do I have lack of empathy? Do I have no remorse? Do I not say please and thank you? Do I not care about someone's feelings? Do I think it's a chore to care about someone? All these types of things are not good things, right? And so, you need to think about like the things you've got that are not good. And instead of going, it's not good, it's like, yeah, it's not good. So what are you going to do about it? How are you going to change it? You can't just sit there saying it's no good. You need to do something and change it in your life. And you can change it. It's patterns of behavior that can change. It's conditioning. Things have gone on in people's lives. A lot of people do have trauma. A lot of people have personality disorders, and you know, this is the way it is, but you have to recognize that and think, okay, I've got this trauma from childhood, I got this trauma from this, and you need to try and sort it out and make some progress and improvements with your life. You're not going to have it perfect. The majority of people in the whole world have got childhood trauma that is acting out in adulthood, and we've all got these types of things going on in the background, subconscious, sometimes consciously, and it's not people's fault that they've had childhood trauma, right? But what it is in this moment, it's your responsibility to take charge of your own life and to deal with that trauma and try to overcome it and heal it as much as possible, so that you're a healthier person for yourself and for other people you come into contact with that you may want to be friends with or possibly have a relationship with. If you can't look after yourself and heal yourself to a certain degree, you're not going to be healthy for anyone to be in a relationship with, not with yourself or with other people or a friendship. So I really would urge guys, like I just get so like, what is the matter with these guys? Like, like, I know it's hard, but you have to, first step is recognition. You have problems and issues, right? That's awareness, right? This is the first step in anything. Like, you have awareness, I have issues, I have problems. Okay, right. Next step, what am I going to do about these issues and problems, right? I'm going to seek a professional therapist that I can relate to, that I can get on with, and that, to help me. If you've got friends that are trying to help you and they're good knowledgeable friends, they're skilled maybe in this area, or they've gone through some experiences themselves and they know what to do, then ask their advice. Don't go asking advice from people who are displaying some of the same traits as you, because you're just going to end up doing the same thing and thinking that behavior's tolerable and acceptable and okay when it blooming well isn't, right? You're going to the wrong people. You don't go to a narcissist, for example, to get trained on how to be a healthy person, right? You don't go to you don't go to someone for anything unless they're trained in it, right? Or unless they have experience of it. Some people have it a better, some people can learn for people's experiences. A lot of coaches, for example, who aren't therapists, they're coaches, and the coaches have understanding through experience. I have a lot of experience, which is why I'm talking about. I do be open and honest about I go through shit. Everyone goes through shit. Even therapists go through shit. Therapists have shit relationships sometimes. Did you know that? Even though they might be helping other people with their relationship, people with they might be helping other people with their own relationships, the other people's relationships. They go through shit themselves sometimes in their own shitty relationships, because love blinds people, feelings blind people, and it's hard. Like I was on I watched one of the dating coaches, a very famous dating coach, and he had an actual therapist right in no, sorry, they weren't therapists, they were dating coach. They were a dating coach going to this other dating coach, writing in, like, and he did it anonymously. And this was another dating coach wanting to get advice from this dating coach because she was actually in love with the guy and she didn't know how to handle the situation with him because she was too emotionally involved in it. And so when you're emotionally involved in it, it's a lot harder. Because I'm emotionally involved to a certain extent with this person, then it's harder for me to have clarity, right? But I do have some clarity. Some people, this is in chat, some people think that if they friend zone someone that has romantic feelings for them, that they won't want to know them at all. Yes, which can be true. And, that's that you run that risk, don't you? If you are, if someone friend zones you, right, that person who you friend zone has the right to walk away, has the right to leave that person if they're looking for a relationship. So if a guy comes to me and he's looking for a relationship with sex, right? I don't want sex ever, right? So I friend zone him, right? He has that right to walk away from me then. Why would he bother if he actually wants a partner who wants sex? I'm not that person. Why would he waste his time on me? Right? Because I friend zone him. That's my choice to friend zone him because I am not interested in sex. So if I friend zone him, he then has the opportunity to go away. But I don't even tend to friend zone those people. I'm just like, look, we're not suitable. Like, that's it. End of story. Like, go and find someone more suitable for relationships. That's not what I'm into. So I don't tend to have that problem usually, most of the time. And so even if you're afraid of that happening, you don't deceive someone, you don't lie to someone in order to keep someone as your friend, because then the friendship is based on a deception, it's based on a lie, it's based on a manipulation for personal gain, right? So because you're doing it under false pretenses, you're doing something, you're behaving a certain way to get something out of someone for your own personal benefit, right? Not for theirs. So when someone friend zones someone, it's up to the person who's been friend zoned whether they want to stay friends with that person or not. You know what I mean? It's that's what it's like, right? Everyone has the power and decisions. Like if I really want a soulmate relationship, and I don't actually want a friendship at all, then why would I continue being friends with someone? If I'm looking for a friendship as well as a relationship, and I'm okay to be friends with someone as well as seek someone else out for a relationship, then that's different. But you have to be honest with the person. You have to tell them the truth, no matter what the outcome is, right? I get rejected all the time. I'm pretty used to it. I'm not used to being rejected, if you like, in person so much, but I am because I've been on dates and stuff. But this is different, like I said, because obviously I thought this person this person said they love someone, and then, like I said earlier, then they changed what they said to make me think there's a possibility of a relationship with them, and that wasn't good. So you should never do that, right? It's not good. You don't get people's false hopes up, right? If you love someone else and you're not interested in a romantic relationship with someone, or a relationship in that way, and you friend zone someone, then you have to keep and stick to that, unless your feelings definitely do change for that person, and all of a sudden then you've got, so like, so sometimes what happens in situations is some people friend zone a person. Like, this does happen quite a lot in life as well. They'll friend zone a person, and they'll be friends with someone even for years, and then they realize they do have feelings for that person, and they realize they've had feelings for that person for a long time. They just haven't consciously realized it. They've subconsciously, and then all of a sudden maybe that person is showing interest in someone else, and then they're like, oh shoot, I actually have feelings for this person, and I didn't realize it, and I've been friends with them for so long, and now they're going to be with someone else. And now either you stay in the friend zone, or or you get out of it, basically. You know what I mean? Or you admit to that person how you feel. So there is a lot of people that do end up in relationships when it's based on a friendship, because every healthy relationship is based on a deep friendship first. So unless you're friends with that person first, then you can't really be in a relationship, not a healthy one, long term usually, right? You may meet some other more suitable Indian guy through him. Well, yes, we've already had that conversation, but he doesn't know any more suitable Indian guys for me. He doesn't even like being Indian and being from India. And he hasn't got any friends in the UK apart from me. So there we go. We've already had that conversation that at the moment he doesn't actually know anyone. And besides, that doesn't excuse the behavior and not saying sorry to me. So at the moment I'm still keeping friends with him for now and seeing how that goes. But I'm a big question mark over that. So anyway, we have to do what's best for us at the time. We have to care about our own health and well-being. We have to put ourselves first. And so it's important that for self-care that you eat nutritious foods as much as possible. It's important that you plow yourself into your own hobbies and interests, that you probably have less communication with that person, less time with them, so you can actually develop more of your own autonomy outside of that connection. Even if you keep them as a friend, that you just do your own thing a bit more, like you're in less contact with them, so that you can put a bit of a divide in terms of like connection and feelings for them. That can hurt some ways, because if you've got a deep emotional connection with that person already, then you're going to break that connection. But sometimes it's necessary to break that connection in order to actually have more healthy friendship with them. Because if you break that connection, you're breaking the romantic feeling connection, which is usually emotional connection for asexuals, is usually how they love. So if you break the emotional connection, and you're not so in each other's lives anymore, even if you're still friends, then it can help you to separate your feelings and become more just acquaintance friends, I guess. And it can help you to have your feelings back for yourself, and then give that love to someone else who does like love you back, want you, need you in the same way, adore you, want a romantic relationship with you, deserve to be that, in a relationship with you, be more of the right person for you. So what's the worst thing you can do is just give up. Like, I do feel like earlier I was thinking, I just want to give up. I've had enough of Indian guys. I've had enough of guys with their mindsets not being right. I've had enough of all this dating rubbish, because what's hard for me is I preferred spending time with this guy than I did just talking to him, even though I did like all the guys on the like dating sites and stuff like this. I just so fed up with guys on dating sites. It was nice to actually spend time with a real person in person with real feelings, not women internet stuff. But yes, alas, that is not worked out in romantic wise, but you know what I mean. And I'm parked on the question of friendship, because friendship has to have total trust in it. And at the moment, the making me think the possibility of a relationship, and as Graham said, the gaslighting thing with that is, it does break some of the trust, and so I don't know if that can be got back again. So yeah, that's the way I'm feeling at the moment. But I think the most important thing is to focus on yourself in this situation. You don't have to make all the decisions at once about what's going to happen with this person. You can just decide over some time. Like I said, sometimes in the heat of the moment, when things are really emotional, it's not always good to make decisions. Sometimes it's better to talk face to face. At the moment, I'm due to talk face to face with this person at the weekend. And so sometimes it's better to talk face to face than over a message. Sometimes it's better to actually face things head on. Sometimes it's better to just give yourself time and space apart a bit. It's better to retract yourself a bit into your shell or into your own life, and to, like, build yourself up again, build your cup up, build your emotional strength up again, build your resilience up again, so that you'll be stronger to make the right decision for you in the future, near future, future, and you can see how things go more, because if you're less contact with that person. For me personally, how I gain an emotional connection is when I'm in contact with the person, when I'm messaging them a lot. That really asexually turns me on, if you like. It makes me more connected to the person. It makes me have more love feelings for the person. Usually makes me more interested in them. But as I'm saying the love feelings now, I'm cringing a little bit, because I'm like, okay, I'm not so into him anymore, because obviously, like, my mindset has changed. Like, he's taken now. My mindset has changed. Like, he never said sorry. He's not the right guy for me anyway. Don't totally trust him like I did before. And so there's a lot of stuff there that's putting barriers in the way now, which is good, because when you have feelings for someone that's unreciprocated, you need to put barriers in the way. You need to put barriers in the way to the end result that you wanted, because the more barriers you've got, the more walls you've got built up with that, then it becomes impossible for that to happen. So therefore you look elsewhere. You naturally will go elsewhere, because you put all these barriers and walls up. Now, I'm not an advocate of putting barriers and walls up for the hell of it, and not opening your heart up to someone else again, not being vulnerable, because you have to be vulnerable in order to get a healthy relationship. It requires vulnerability. But I am an advocate of, if someone's not reciprocating your feelings, it's good to put barriers up, like mental barriers, virtual barriers, physical barriers even, so that you can grow stronger again within your own walls of your life, and you can build up those bricks, if you like, to be stronger and to keep that person out of your love life, your romantic feeling life, your feeling life, and they become more of an outsider in that respect, because they're no longer in your heart and in your soul and your mind as much, because you're freeing. Because he was like on my mind, like from beginning, when I woke up till like night. And like a lot of the stuff that goes with teenager lovesick stuff, all that type of thing, and it was driving me nuts. But I did share that with him. It was really emotional, really upsetting. I was crying a lot, and it was really good to purge. Like I said, it's better to get all your emotions out. Now I've done all that purging. It's kind of like helped with the grieving cycle. And so now I'm at the stage of a self-love, self-care cycle, and I'm not sure about what's going to happen with him, question marks, in terms of friendship thing. I'm parked on that. I do not think it's good for me to make a rash decision with that. I don't know him well enough, I think, in some respects. So I think, like, and some people do not good things when they're not. He's not in a good mental state at the moment. I don't want to excuse his behavior though, but he's not in a good mental state at the moment. And I know that. And so, and some people do things that aren't good and aren't good behavior when they're not thinking very good. But there's other red flags as well. So, I don't want to make excuses, because I don't believe in making excuses for people. I believe in telling people how things are and saying, look, this is not good behavior. Like, are you going to do something about it or not? Because if not, then I can't be around that. So, but I think sometimes we don't have to, sometimes you can give people a chance to put things right. Other times you just have to completely walk away from the situation. So, and sometimes you don't have to decide there and then. If you need to build your strength up before making a decision, I think that's really important. You have to build strength up within yourself again. You have to build your own emotions back up again for yourself. You have to be more of a self-contained unit, because when you have feelings for someone, you're kind of like giving, and it can deplete your energy, deplete your own self-love reserves a little bit. Although try not to do that. And it can also make your emotional state more unstable. But what you need to do is, when you take back your personal power, and you're in your personal power by doing your hobbies, your interests, plowing forward with your goals, ambitions, and dreams, you're actually taking better care of yourself. Then you can come from a much more healthy place within yourself to make a decision about that person one way or the other. Maybe you stay friends with them for a while and see how it goes. But at the end of the day, if it causes you complete heartache and pain, and you keep being miserable in your life, you have to let that person go, because your happiness is the most important thing, right? Especially if they love someone else, because in the future they're either going to realize that if the other person doesn't love them back, they're going to have to get someone else anyway, in which case they'll have missed out on you as a person, but they might not have ever been interested in you like that anyway. or they're going to have to be with that person, and then you're going to, whichever it is, if they go with that person or they go with another person, which is highly unlikely if they don't have any feelings for you anyway, then this is this is important, right? You just don't want to be, you don't want to be allowing yourself to be open to that. You need to close that gap up, close any possibility up for your own mind, and eventually they're going to probably, like I said, either be with that person or someone else. It's not going to be you. And so you don't want to waste time, energy, and effort on someone if they're just going to, for example, they might drop you when they get into a relationship with them, or someone else drop you like a hot brick, and then they were just like in your life while they needed someone. You know what I mean? So you've got to be very careful and wary of these things. I'm not saying that's what the person is going to do, but it could happen. And like, love conquers all. Love, it's like a lot of people in romantic relationships, don't forget this guy's not asexual, a lot of people in romantic relationships, they prioritize that over a friendship, usually, a lot of the time. And they have to a certain extent, because obviously that's their primary partner. That's the one they got to take care of and love, cherish, and adore every day. So they got to put a lot of time, energy, and effort into that. It's understandable, but you've got to think about those consequences. You don't want to be plowing so much time, energy, and effort into a person that's not reciprocating it back to you, because it's just not worth it, and it's not going to do you any good in the long term. Is he non-monogamous? No, he's fiercely monogamous. But you're monogamous, so he wouldn't be suitable for you. I've just answered that question. He's monogamous. He's not non-monogamous. He's monogamous. I'm monogamous. He's monogamous. He's already told me he's definitely monogamous. He only wants one relationship, life partner, forever with one person. And he thinks he could be without sex, but that's irrelevant now, because he loves the other person, and there was no possibility that he was interested in a relationship with me. He just made me think that. So yeah. So yes. So anyway, like I said, you need to prioritize your self-care, prioritize you, build your strength up, build your self-love muscles up again, build your heart up again, build your defenses again, because you have to put that in place in order to keep yourself safe and happy and well and secure. And in order to love yourself, it's important that that you can be loved by someone else. Do not have a limited mindset. So the worst thing asexuals can do, think, I'm not going to get anyone else, I'm never going to find anyone. That is limiting beliefs. Even he tried to said something that's trying to put a limiting belief in my head. I'm like, I don't have those limiting beliefs. Like, I don't believe that it's possible for just one type of guy to be interested in me, even though I'm asexual. There's thousands of asexuals around the globe. The more asexuality comes out, the more people hear about it, the more asexuals that will come out. It'll be normal eventually, because I'm on a mission to get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation throughout the globe, so no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again. And I'm doing that now on a global scale. So you might have noticed James Miller's show, Lifeology radio show, 3.5 million listeners per episode. I was on that this week. So yeah, it's talking about asexuality, and it's huge for asexuals and asexuality. So, and James is lovely. He's on the LGBT spectrum. He's got a partner, a male partner, and he's really, really nice guy, and he accepts asexuality. He's so lovely. And telling all his listeners that just to accept it is just fabulous, and I'm so glad that I started with Blue Talks, training with them and doing 3 speaker programs. Going to be speaking at Oxford University for them next month, and I'm just absolutely grateful that I've got all these opportunities, because it's through the Experts Bootcamp, through Blue Talks, that I was able to pitch to these top podcasters, and he's like the one that has the most listenership. So it took me a while to still get on his show, because I had to go through more application stages, but it was amazing. He's a lovely guy, and I'm sure I'll probably be back on there again one day. So yeah, I really love it. So yeah, the more we get asexually recognized, and it's better to be on your own and be single than be with the wrong person, be with someone who's not good for you, be with someone who's not right for you. It's much better to be with someone who you totally trust as well. It's much better to, be single and empowered than be in a situationship where you feel disempowered, like you're not getting the love that you want because you have things for that person that they don't have for you, and you're not getting the time, energy, effort, and you're And the danger of staying in a situationship where your feelings are unreciprocated is you're always having in the back of your mind, what if, what if, what if? So with my mind, like I say, what I'm doing is literally thinking he is taken, he is in a relationship, even though he's not actually in a relationship with this person. And this person at the moment said they don't romantically feel the same way about him. They care about him a lot. But anyway, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's not my problem, that, right? So you've got to think of yourself, and you've got to put in your mindset, you've got to change your mindset. If you can't change, if you don't want to change the situation, like if you still want to remain friends with this type of person, right? Then you need to decide to change your mindset. With any situation in life, you either change the situation or you change your mindset about the situation. Right? I'll repeat that. You either change the situation, in other words, go from their life, or you change your mindset about the situation. Even if you change the mindset about the situation, you've got feelings that might interfere with changing your mindset. So you've got to give yourself time to see if you can actually do that. I have been able to just be friends with some people who I have romantic feelings for, but it's taken some time to get to that stage, sometimes a long time, because with hyper-romanticism, with me, I don't experience platonic attraction whatsoever. So it skips that stage. And for me, I have to go backwards to even get more friendship feelings than love or fancy feelings or romantic feelings. I have to go backwards. Like, I have to spend more time, like, it has to take a lot more time for me to not feel that way. For me to, like, well, I don't totally get rid of the feelings usually, but they dull down enough so that the friendship element's a lot more stronger for me. That's how it works. You've got to understand yourself, you've got to understand your own asexuality, you've got to understand how you work, what's best for you. What's best for you might not be best for someone else. People who experience platonic attraction, they're not going to have such a problem with people with them being friend zoned. But I know some people though who experience crushes and it kills them. Like, they're in my ace, kills them emotionally or upset. They get upset, not physically kill them. But I have some people in my asexual groups and they're like, oh, I really like this. It's women sometimes and they like other women and they're like, oh, I spoke to my crush today. Like, we've been friends for a while and I spoke to them and told them how I feel and they just don't feel the same way. And I'm absolutely devastated. So it can be difficult for people with crushes who are asexual as well, not just people who are hyper romantic or have romantic feelings like me. It can be very difficult. And this happens a lot all the time. Sometimes it's to do with someone's more of a challenge if they're unavailable than if they're available. And in a chemical makeup situation, it can be like you're more after someone who's unavailable because they're unavailable, if you know what I mean. Even if you don't consciously know this, it's subconscious. So like I said, in my mind, I'm now thinking he's in a relationship because his mind is with her, his soul is with her, his heart is with her. So that's really means he's taken, right? He's taken himself off the table with anyone, but he might end up in a relationship with someone else. He doesn't ever intend to go back to India. And at the moment, she's not coming over here. So unless one of them ends up meeting the other one, it's not going to happen, is it? So, which is another thing that I just find very bizarre. It's like, you don't intend to go back to India to be with her. She's not at the moment coming over here anymore because she was. And so how's that ever going to happen? But then it's not my problem. It doesn't matter. So you need to forget the problems of the other person. You need to forget the love life of the other person. That's their business. If they want to go, if they want to pursue that, let them carry on, right? You can say your piece. I've said what I think about that. I'm like thinking, I don't get it. Like, surely if you don't want to go back to India, you'd rather be with a British girl. And he's like an old soul and I'm like a young soul. So we have some common, we have some coincidence. I don't believe anything's coincidental. So we have some similarities in terms of like what would work in terms of relationship dynamics like that. But it's not going to happen ever. So it's off the table now. So I recognize that. And so the vision of the guy I thought my soulmate is not my soulmate. And so that means my soulmate's still out there. So you have to remember this. Like, don't give up hope, because I was thinking, oh, I just want to give up now. I've had friggin' enough, which I have in some ways. Like, it's like, I was just like pathetic. Like, dating is very difficult. If you go to any dating coach good, healthy dating coach that talks about dating apps and being on dating sites and the dating thing online, it's friggin' crazy. But this guy I met at the cinema, I didn't meet online, and one of the most healthiest ways of meeting someone is actually in person at an event or something. That's usually supposed to be a healthier way of meeting someone. It doesn't always work like that. So yeah, sometimes it's just good to give yourself some time off though. Like, another time, so I'm still on dating apps anyway, I've not stopped that anyway. So You know what I mean? But I just like a lot of the people on dating apps and dating sites are into hookups, and I need a deep emotional connection, which I was getting with this guy. So, but I have to just think there are other guys out there I can get it with. And like I said, when you're asexual, don't have a limited mindset of, oh, this is the only person I'm going to get. Oh, this is the only person I'm going to have feelings for. Oh, this is the only person I can get on with. Don't have that. Don't have limited beliefs, because I don't believe that that's the only persons that might be suitable for me. I don't believe it. And also, I've been let down quite a few times in my life. I've been like thinking someone's my soulmate and not. I don't usually ever have a vision, though. That's the first time I've actually had a vision of a person I've never seen before. So that's why it's kind of weird for me. But what I'm trying to say is sometimes we think someone's a soulmate, but they're not. Or maybe they were in a past life and that's why you have this connection with them in that moment, right? But you don't worry about that. You're just like, okay, didn't work out. I'm moving on now. I know that that person's not the right person for me because they haven't chosen me. A person has to choose you. If they're not choosing you, they're not right for you because they don't believe you're right for them. Do you know what I mean? So you can't be right for them. You're not right, at least in this point in time, right? And so you've got to accept that, and then they can lose you. Then that's their loss. I mean, like if this person loves someone else, which they do, but at this moment in time, that person doesn't reciprocate. If I have feelings for them and they don't reciprocate my feelings, they could end up with that woman in India going and marrying someone else, and I am going to end up with someone else. And then they don't end up with either of us, so they'll be with someone else. But sometimes that's what life's like. I've been in a situation where I've liked two different guys at the same time. I've even, like, years ago, as a teenager and birth certificate age, I had two guys that I loved at once, and it was really hard. One I was in a relationship with, the other one I wasn't. But the other one was a past boyfriend, and the boyfriend I had at the time went off and, like, left me in the summer, like, for 6 weeks, and I never heard from him. He wasn't a good guy anyway. I think he probably had sex with women where he went. And so I ended up being close again to my ex, and so then I had this, like, I've got love feelings for two guys. That was the first time I'd ever experienced love feelings for two guys, and I didn't know what the hell to do. And usually when you have feelings for two different people, neither of them end up being the right person, because if they were the right person, you'd be able to easily say, this is the one for me. This is the right one. If you've got feelings for two different people, then usually neither of them are right. This person doesn't have feelings for me, though, at this point in time. And according to them, never will. So that's fine. And she does have feelings for him, but they're caring feelings, right? And so he said he cares about me, but like I said on this video, like, if you care about someone, then you say sorry when you've led someone to believe something that's not true, if you really care about someone. So yeah, just know that, that at the end of the day, don't feel bad, because life will sort itself out. You'll find the person you're meant to be with, or you'll be happily single and you'll have the most amazing time. I do have a lovely single life, like I do go out clubbing. And the good thing I like being single is I can kiss whatever guys in clubs I want. It would be difficult for me to be in a relationship with a guy. Well, I can't be in a relationship with a guy who doesn't like lots of kissing. I prefer to be in a relationship with a guy who does actually like going clubbing to a certain extent. Like, I don't have to go all the time, like once a month or something, or once every 6 weeks or 8 weeks would be good. But I do need to go out dancing sometime. I get sick quite a lot, so I can't go out all the time anyway doing that. But low immune system. But what I'm trying to say is, like, you have to start building up a case for this person you got feelings for that's unreciprocated, that you've told, because I told you should tell them. Start building up a case for why they're definitely not the right person for you. This really helps. Build up, like, like you'd have a pros and cons list of someone, a good and bad, right? Okay, you could argue that everyone's got good and bad points, everyone's got things that, but you don't, if you want to get over someone, if you want to stop having such high intensity emotional feelings for someone, such love feelings, such fancy feelings or crush feelings, whatever you got, you need to be able to build up the cons with them, build up the dislikes about them, build them up to be huge and massive, to put a wall and a barrier between you and them ever being in a relationship together. The more barriers you put up, the more you protect yourself and your heart, and the more that you can put it behind these walls and allow other guys to come through here and there, but not allow this person or this whatever person it is, in my case guys, come through here. Do you see what I mean? So you build yourself up to be stronger and to be less reliant on them, less dependent on them, less attached to them, so you're pulling away from them. If they don't love you anyway, if they don't have feelings for you, it ain't really gonna matter if you're pulling away from them, right? And maybe they like you as a friend, but they have to act good as a friend, right, to you. and you still need to pull away from them to a certain extent for your own self-care, right? If they got someone else they love who might love them in the future or whatever, then they're already taken. They're self-sufficient. They've got their own interests sorted out. You need to look at you after your interests. Who's looking after you? I've got some really good friends that care about me, but you know what I mean? Who's looking after you? You have to care about yourself enough to be able to like walk away or put barriers and obstacles purposely in place so that you know that it's never going to happen. They've told you a relationship's completely off the cards and they're not interested in you in those feelings. If the feelings change, that's up to them to tell you that, but you'll probably be taken by them, probably won't have interest in them like that anymore. Maybe you might, but you know, you probably be off somewhere else. Times will change in life. They'll go off and do their thing. You'll go off and do yours. Especially if you're just friends. Like if you're in a romantic relationship, you're more likely to take the person with you to places. You're more likely to move nearer them. You're more likely to want to be in closer proximity to them. You're more likely to want to keep them near you. But if you're just friends with someone, then it, you know, like there's more chance of it being like more distant, like not living near each other. You know what I mean? So always bear these things in mind. Sometimes it's a bit confusing, especially because some asexuals tend to blur the lines between friendship and relationship. Some people blur the line, you know, some asexuals cuddle their friends, for example. Some asexuals like love their friends so much that their love is platonic, but that would be equivalent to romantic love for some other people. And so they would do stuff and be in close proximity to their friends, even maybe living in community groups or living in shared accommodation. And so, you know, that's traditionally a romantic relationship type of scenario if in terms of living with each other. But with platonic asexuals, you know, asexuals experience platonic relationship feelings and crushes and stuff. They're more likely to want to live together in a community type of way, if that makes sense. So yeah, so always bear in mind that different people have different things going on. Different people interpret things different ways. I don't cuddle or kiss or hold hands with my friends. I do hug some of my friends if they want it. But again, if you have love feelings for someone and you're hugging them, you know, even as a friend, that can be difficult because it can, like, you know, mean that you have more stronger feelings and more physical touch. So if you want to build some feelings between you and another person, it usually requires like a lot of senses, which is auditory, visual, touch, all these type of things, right? So the more you do these type of things, the more you're in someone's life, usually someone would develop some feelings for the other person over time. And often, even people that say they're just friends, one of them has feelings for the other. It usually always works out like that. Deep down inside, one of them has some attraction, some feelings for the other person. So that's why it's hard to ever remain friends with someone when you have feelings for them. It's only, I would say, if the feeling of friendship is stronger than any other feelings you have, can you have a successful friendship. But obviously those feelings can still rear their head again and make things more complicated again. Sometimes it's just better to cut completely loose from that person. Other times it's better to see if you can sort it out, give it a chance for friendship. But you have to do what's right for you. But always know that your number one priority is yourself, your self-care. If that person loves someone else, then they've got their other interests on someone else. They're not in your best interest. They're in the other person's best interest. They're in their own person's best interest. They're in their own zone, right? They're not doing anything to be in your best interest. Do you see what I mean? There's imbalance there. So you have to be thinking of your own best interest and taking care of you. Speaking to your friends, speaking to your family, building yourself up again, building a life without them again. If you've put a lot of time, energy, and effort into it, don't overinvest in them anymore. Don't put all the time, energy, and effort in you would as if someone would reciprocate the feelings, because it's not going to be worth it. You don't want to be doing that, right? Because you want to give some time, energy, and effort and space to a potential partner in the future. Like, even if you don't have someone to be in a relationship with now, right? If you're still looking for an actual relationship, that person is not interested in you, then you need to leave a proportion of your time open to the opportunities of having someone else come in there's a romantic love interest and the love of your life, right? You need to leave some time and space for them, so you can no longer continue to put the time, energy, and effort into the other person like you did before, in the same way you did before, when you need to have space and time for that other person to enter your life that really is going to love you, adore you, want you, and only you. And always remember that you don't want to be second best. Like, I don't want to be second best to some other woman that the guy loves. I want to be first choice. I want to be loved for me, and I want him to just love me. So he's not my soulmate if he's in love with someone else. You know what I'm saying? Although soulmates can come into your life at weird times when it's not the right timing, but this person that's adamant they just like me as a friend and their love of their life is that woman. So that's out of the question. So, I either have to stay just friends with this person or not have them in my life at all. At the moment, I still say friends and see how it goes. So I don't think it's good, like I said, to make any rash decisions. I think things will work themselves out in the end, but I think you have to really concentrate on your self love, self care. Like, make sure you're eating nutritional foods. Make sure you're giving yourself some positive affirmations, positive self-talk, telling yourself how gorgeous you look, telling yourself how beautiful you look, telling yourself you'll be fine, you'll get someone else who loves you for you and who adores you and who is the right person for you. And sometimes we have to experience the wrong person to be able to appreciate the right person more. Sometimes we have to be able to experience the dark, if you like, to experience the light more. Sometimes we have to be able to experience what's wrong for us in order to see what's right for us more. Sometimes, I believe everything happens for a reason. The reason doesn't necessarily show itself straight away. Sometimes it happens, like the reason reveals itself later on, but everything happens for reason, good or bad, I believe. So always think that this is happening for you rather than to you. And if the person is not interested in you, it's in your best interests, right? It's in my best interest that this person is not reciprocating my feelings. It's in my best interest that he doesn't love me. It's in my best interest that he doesn't want a relationship with me. In my best interest that he is like that, right? It is good for me because it means that I'm free to seek out a really healthy, loving, kind, caring, committed relationship with a guy. The difficulty I have is it is Indian guys I like, and at the moment, the Indian guys I'm mostly coming across, unless they're slightly older, is like their minds are like needs some help, right, to sort out. So, but I am, like I'm friends with a lot of entrepreneur Indian guys online, and there's some that like mid-20s that like 24, 25, they're more like sorting their minds out. They go through a depression. Usually they go through quite a lot of like emotional turmoil. They get some therapy, they get some help, they sort themselves out, then they usually sort their career out, and then they're looking for a healthy relationship, because they've sorted their shit out basically. But guys who don't work on themselves, guys who don't seek therapy, guys who don't admit they've got a problem, guys who never work on themselves, they'll just end up repeating the same patterns over and over again. So, always take care when you're having friendship connections as well as romantic connections and who you're connecting with, to make sure that those relationships and friendships are as healthy as possible for both parties. If you feel that you cannot continue a friendship with someone because it's unhealthy for you and you get miserable, you have to let that person go for your own good. But take your time, decide what you want to do. I'm going to take my time and decide what I want to do, but at this moment I've decided that it's parked and I'm plowing time, energy, and effort into myself, and I'm the most important person in my life, and I love me, and I'm building myself up again, building my walls up against feelings for this person, putting all the cons and dislikes about this person purposely to raise the bricks, raise the wall, to raise the roof over me to protect myself, and so that I know this person is totally unsuitable for a relationship with me. It doesn't mean to say I can't see some suitability in a friendship. It doesn't mean to say that you can't, but if you put walls and barriers up, it helps you loads because you've got protection then. And you need to protect your gorgeous heart because you're beautiful. Don't ever let someone believe that you can't get someone just because you're asexual or you like a certain type of person. It's not true. There are thousands of people there in the world, right? I'm a really honest person. So although I come across a lot of dishonest people, guys, as well, I know that there are honest people because I'm honest, right? If you think about your own qualities, I know that I like younger foreign guys. There's going to be some younger foreign guys who really like being with an older British girl. I'm very independent. I don't do what my parents would like me to do or think or what. I love my parents dearly, but I love them. We're individual people, right? And I respect their different and I respect my different, right? We're very different people. If we tried to make each other like each other, it'd be well, it wouldn't happen because we're both like, no, we're not being like that, right? And so, you're going to get some people from every walk of life that is going to be independent. It is harder with Indian culture because their culture is very actually codependent. It's very toxic. It's very like, do what the parents say, do what the relations say, do what you're told, and you like this as an adult, right? And people live together with their parents, and it's kind of like, you owe us something now because we gave birth to you, so you owe us your life, and we put you through college or university, and that you owe us. That is like really toxic, right? But I think more people will eventually recognize that, and I think there's going to be some Indian guys that do recognize that, and they're like, oh my God, I just got to get out of this, right? It's not for me because I'm very different to my culture. I'm very different. I don't want sex. I don't want marriage. I don't want kids. A lot of time, even in British culture, a lot of women want marriage. They want kids. They want the house, the 9 to 5 job. They want, they're like a housewifey type of person, or they do housework and go to work. I'm not that type of person at all. I'm not into that. I'm not into a guy for his money either. I'm not after that. I don't need a guy to have a flashy car. I don't even need him to drive, but I do need him to come and see me. And so there's certain things that other women think in terms of status that I don't actually need. I'm not like that. So there's going to be some Indian guys that maybe in the UK, and they're like, oh, well, I don't have a ton of money, but I could go and see her, and I'm glad she's not like needing flashy cars and doesn't need marriage and kids because I'm really not into that lifestyle. But I do want 100% commitment, something like that. So there's going to be some. There's obviously some Indian British born guys as well that might be more like westernized into the Western culture and have their own mindset. So there's probably a ton of them. A lot of them, unfortunately, want sex. That's a problem. But there's going to be some people crop up eventually. And if they don't, I will just carry on going out, having fun, kissing whatever guys I want in clubs and having a great time with my life. I mean, it's not bad life, is it? When you go out and you can kiss whatever guys you want that want to kiss you and just have fun. You know what I mean? And dance, and you don't have any restrictions. You don't have any repercussions, shall I say? You do if you get attached to them, but usually guys in clubs I tend to get less attached to on purpose. And so yeah, it's just fun, and there's so many other places in the UK that I haven't been to yet. There's more Bollywood parties that I can go to around the country. That is one of my bucket list things to do. More like go to different Bollywood events around the UK would be nice, but my career's more important to me at the moment. um and progressing with that and helping asexuals, of course, getting my books out, all this type of thing, talking, doing my speaking Blue Talks courses and all this type of thing. So yeah, so always focus on your positives, your strengths, your happiness. Put barriers up between you and the other person in terms of romance, and think of all the reasons why this person is not suitable for you. List them down. Negatives. We want negatives. When you want to get over someone, when you want to disconnect from them romantically, in terms of love feelings or fantasy or crush, you want to put disadvantages up. You want to see all their weaknesses. That's not so good for a friendship, maybe, but you need to focus on getting rid of those feelings, or dampening them down, or getting in a good way, not dampening, repressing and suppressing them, but just dampening them down, as in, a bit like you got flames and you're trying to put water on them to put the flames out, the flames of love, the flames of desire, the flames of crush, the flames of fantasy. You're pouring water on it, and you're making those flames dead, so they don't exist anymore. And so the more water you pour on it, the more you're helping yourself to dull those feelings down in a good, healthy way, to burn the bridges, as it were, and to know that that's never going to happen. It's not an option. Take it out of your head. They don't deserve to be with you if they don't love you anyway. If they love someone else, if they don't want you, do not be with someone who doesn't want you. And just be your beautiful asexual self, because you're worth it. You're worth so much in life. You're worth love, care, time, attention, adoration. Even in a healthy friendship, you're worth respect. You're worth apologizing to if someone's done something to harm you, mentally, emotionally, or physically. If it's physically, you might need to leave quickly. And so, but mental and emotional abuse is still abuse, right? So look after yourself. Don't stay in abusive situations. Get yourself safe and be happy. And, you know, know that your own emotions, your own health, your own well-being, your own happiness is the most important thing, because you've got to live with yourself 24/7, 365 days a year. And if you're not happy, you're going to have a miserable life, right? I have potential relationship anxiety and relationship anxiety. So actually, it's a huge benefit when I'm not in a relationship or having any scenario where there might be a potential relationship. It's actually better for me not to have them like that. So yeah, but one day I hope to find a really healthy guy for me. Not these crazy guys that don't seem to know what the hell they want, not even thought about what a relationship would look like. They have stuff in their mind that's just not good. There's someone that has been out of my life for like a year, and they messaged me today. I haven't responded. I haven't actually gone in. The messages popped up on my phone on Facebook. They watched this channel. They knew who they are. Remember the 21-year-old Indian guy from last year? Him. It's like been a year, I think, since he contacted me. I think last time was September last year, somewhere like that. And it's like a whole year later, really? Seriously? Like, but again, he was a guy that's not healthy in his mind, narcissistic traits, needs to sort his life out, needs to sort his mind out. And I doubt he's done that, because he probably doesn't think that he's got anything wrong with him. And so until he sorts his shit out, basically, he's not going to be good to be in a relationship with anyone, right? He really needs to get himself sorted out. So yes, I wish him all the best of luck for that, though. And yeah, you know, take care, and don't forget to love yourself, be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, and always stay ace. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you soon on the next video live stream. Lots of love. Bye. Take care.